Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
You are welcome to Fusion Mobile e-learning platform. I'm Olokobi Padumi by name. I will be treating the subjects commerce, and in this class I'll be talking about cooperative society. And now we're going to be talking about the definition of cooperative society, characteristics of cooperative society, types of cooperative society. So we have the advantages and disadvantages of cooperative societies. Also, we'll be looking at the similarities between cooperative society and limited liability company. Also, we'll be looking at the credit unions and thrift societies. Thereafter, we're going to look at the formation of credit unions and thrift societies. Thereafter, and finally, we'll move to services provided to members. That is by the credit unions and thrift society. Now, the first thing we have is the definition of the cooperative society. We must have heard of the word cooperative society, and it's having a lot of purposes for its establishment. So, when talking about cooperative society, it is a voluntary organization formed by a group of individuals or businessmen or traders, so who agree to put their resources together in order to satisfy the welfare of its member and also to promote the economic activities in the country. So that is the major purpose of the cooperative society. So it's usually formed to satisfy the interests or welfare of its member. So also we'll be looking at the characteristics of cooperative society. Number one, we have generally all societies are usually formed to promote the economy and also to satisfy the interests of its member or welfare of its member. So we have the characteristics of cooperative society. Number one is that the cooperative society is formed to satisfy the economic welfare of its member. So and number two is that the society or the organization is usually formed by the contribution from its member. So any of the contribution for its member is used in forming the organization. That means capital used in the formation of the organization is usually provided by members. And number three is that the cooperative society is usually democratic in nature, in that each member of the organization have equal says in the organizations. They have equal say in the association. So it's usually democratic in nature. So number four, we have how is profit made or dividend is being distributed to members. So in the cooperative society, profit or dividend is usually divided or given to members based on the number of patronage of members of the organization. So how did the member patronize the organizations or the association? That will determine the amount of profit or dividend to be given to each of the to any of the members. So that means it's not based on the number of shares held by any of the members. So it's based on on the number of patronage or how the members patronize the organization. So profit is shared based on patronage. The number five is that the organization is registered as a limited liability company. Yeah, it is usually registered as a limited liability company. So we have a lot of characteristics. So we can really stop here. Let's talk about 5 points, which is the major characteristics of the cooperative society. Now let's look at the types of cooperative society. We also have different types of cooperative society. We have the number 1. We have the wholesale cooperative society. Number 2, we have the retail cooperative society. We have producer cooperative society. So we have credits and thrift society, cooperative society. So we also have the multi-purpose cooperative society. Lastly, we have consumer cooperative societies. So the first we have is the wholesale cooperative society. As the name given, the wholesale cooperative society. This form of cooperative society is usually formed by small wholesaler, like the small wholesaler, like small wholesaling form of business. So the society is usually formed. The society is usually formed in order to ensure bulk purchase at a cheaper price from the producers. So it is usually formed by by a group of small wholesalers in order to enable them to buy to buy goods at a cheaper price at from the wholesaler, because if the goods is being bought individually, what will happen? The cost might be much. So to reduce cost, what will happen? The wholesaler, small group of wholesalers will come together and form an organization which refers as wholesale cooperative society in order for them to buy goods directly from the manufacturer or from the producer and then distribute it at a lower cost to their members. And we also have the retail cooperative society. This also, as the name gives to it, this also is formed by small retailer. And also, the purpose of forming this organization or association is to encourage purchase of goods from the wholesaler and then directly from the manufacturer or from the producers, and then distribute it in a bits or units to each of its members, which are usually retailers. So this will encourage reduction of cost of goods, and also cost of transportation will also be reduced in it. Also, we also have the producer cooperative society. This also is formed by a group of producers, and the reason for forming this type of organization is to ensure quick accessibility of raw materials used in producing their products. So when this form of society is formed, members usually contribute their quotas to the organizations, and these quotas will usually be used in producing the raw materials and all of the needed tools used in the production of their goods. So we also have the credits and thrift cooperative society. This organization is usually formed to encourage savings habits by its members. So members will be asked to save some certain amount of money, because majority of its members are always low income earners. So they will save some little amount of money within the period, and what happens from the amount saved From the amount saved, this amount will be known out to its members. So this encourages members what encourage us some certain petty expense transaction and so on, something like that. So we also have the multipurpose cooperative society, as the name given to it, multipurpose. This society is usually formed to perform various or variant services to its member. It's carry out different form of services, different form of welfare packages for its member, and this form of society is usually formed by an existing cooperative society. It's formed by an existing cooperative society, and existing cooperative society comes together for the formation of this form of what? Cooperative society, and they perform very different form of what? Services to their member. And also we have the consumer cooperative society. This form of society is usually formed to what happens to bypass the middlemen in the chain of distribution. Usually from the bypass the middlemen in the chain of what? Distribution, and to ensure that quick goods is available to member at a lower price. So it is usually formed by a group of consumers coming together to buy goods either directly from the wholesaler or directly from the producers or manufacturer of the goods, in order to ensure that its members are fully satisfied. That is, the interest of its member are fully satisfied, and its welfare of its member is what? It's fully satisfied also. So that is all about. So we talk about the wholesalers cooperative society, usually formed by a group of wholesalers. Also we talk about the retail cooperative society, formed by a group of what? Retail. We talk about the producer cooperative society, the credit and thrift cooperative society, and also I have talked about the multipurpose cooperative society, which are from various form of what? Welfare packages to its member or services to its member. Also we talk about the consumer cooperative society, who also perform various form of what? Activities of interest to its member, and also it is formed to what? To satisfy the interest of its member, usually formed by what? By a group of consumers to satisfy the member and ensure that goods is available at a low price to its member, and also to usually bypass what? The bottleneck or the problem posed by what? By middlemen. And also we have the advantages and disadvantages of cooperative society. So we have the advantages and disadvantages of cooperative society. So let's look at the advantages. One of the advantages of cooperative society is to encourage saving habits among its what? Among its members. So there is encouragement of saving in the organization. So members are usually encouraged to save. So number 2, we have as stated earlier, in the features or characteristic of cooperative society, we said the organization or the association is democratic in nature. That is, each member is having equal say in the organization. So as a result of that, that's an advantage, since each member is having equal say in the organization. So this democratic in nature, very good advantage. And also we have usually educate its member. Educate its member. So cooperative society also ensures that its members are educated, whether in their lines of business or some important areas a member needs to be educated on. So cooperative society usually educates its members. So number 4, we have improvements in standard of living. So since the major aim of forming cooperative society is to satisfy the welfare of its member. So when this aim is being met, what happens? There will be an improvement in standard of living of its member, which is one of the advantages of the what? Of the cooperative society. So it helps to improve the standard of living of its member. Then number 5 we have low cost of goods. Wow, interesting. So cooperative society ensure that the goods that are available to its member are usually of low cost. Especially to the what? To the consumer cooperative society. That is one of the major aims of some cooperative society, like the Solar Cooperative Society, Retail Cooperative Society, and the consumer. We have a lot of them. So their major purpose is to ensure that the goods are available to the member at the lowest or the least cost, since such goods will be bought jointly as opposed to what? Individually, which might increase the cost of goods to its members. So what will happen? The goods will be will be bought in bulk and then distributed to its member at the lowest cost. So it ensures low cost of goods to its member. That also serve as what? As an advantage of cooperative society. So we talk about the encouragement of savings. We talk about the democratic in nature. We talk about that it educates its members. We also talk about improvement in standard of living. We talk about low cost of goods. Yeah, which is the last one we talk about. That is ensure that low cost of goods are available to member. And number 6, we can also talk about perpetual existence. Wow, interesting. Also serve as an advantage, since cooperative society is formed as a limited liability. So that means the death of any of its member does not bring the organization or the association to an end. So as an advantage. So there is perpetual existence of the organization or of the society. So the death of any member does not mean the end of such organization or such society. Now you can also look at the disadvantage of the cooperative society. We can look at the disadvantage. So we can look at the disadvantages of the cooperative society. So we have problem of loan recovery. Wow. So this is one of the major problems of the cooperative society. Problems of loan recovery. Since loans are usually provided to members by the cooperative society, this has become the major problem to recover these loans by member, and this usually brought about the liquidation or coming to an end of many cooperative society, since majority of their members refuse to pay back loan given to them. So this also will serve as one of the disadvantages of the cooperative society. Problem of loan recovery. The problem of loan recovery. Now we're going to talk about illiteracy, high level of illiteracy among its members. Okay, we have high level of illiteracy. So majority of the members of the cooperative society are usually illiterate, in such a way that majority of them do not know the purpose of forming such an organization. So that also serves as disadvantages to the cooperative society. So we also have serve as an opportunity for embezzlement of funds. So whenever a cooperative society is being formed, what happens? There will be leaders in the organization or in the society, and whenever funds is being given to them, what happens? That also serves as an opportunity in which was the funds which is meant for the organization or for the society to be embezzled by its member. Yeah, that is the reason why in the country majority of cooperative societies available are not working effectively due to the fact that what should have been given to member will be embezzled by the leaders or the organization. Although majority of it, all of its members are having equal say, but what happened? The financial secretary can easily embezzle the fund without the knowledge of any other of the members of the organization. So that also serve as a problem to the cooperative society. So we also have low dividend. Yeah, the reason why majority of the citizens are not contributing to the aspect of cooperative society or are not contributing their money to the cooperative society is as a result of low dividend being given to its member at the end of the period. So as a result of that, the cooperative society bases its distribution of dividend or profit on the patronage of its member, not on the number of shares or member contribution. But what happened? It depends on the number of patronage. So since if no patronage by members within a period, what happen? There won't be any dividend. So no dividend given to members also discourage incoming member to the organization. So that also serves as a problem or disadvantages to the cooperative society. Now we also can talk about the financial problem. It is often said that an organization with financial crisis cannot run effectively. So an organization needs one major tool, which is finance. So without finance, there won't be an organization. So what happened? The cooperative society usually have this problem. So they have the problem of finance because the contribution of member sometimes must not be enough to finance the organization. So securing loans from external creditors or from external institutions always serve as a problem to the cooperative society, since the society is not formed to make any form of profit in the period. So what will happen? There will be a problem of finance in the organization. So that also serves as a problem to the cooperative society. So we can also talk about the frequent government intervention and control. Frequent government intervention and control. So this also poses as a problem to the cooperative society, since some of the activities government usually will intervene and also have some degree of control on the cooperative society. So that means some of the activities might not be performed to its members, or some of the activities of the organization might not be performed without some aspect of government interventions and control. So that also serves as a problem to this cooperative society. So we'll be looking at the similarities between cooperative society and the limited liability companies. So we'll be looking at the similarities, while also we'll be looking at the differences between the cooperative society and the limited liability company. So we'll be looking at the similarities and also the differences between the cooperative society and the limited liability company. We'll be looking at the similarities between cooperative society and the limited liability companies. So the first thing we'll be looking at the similarities. Number one is that both companies are legal entities. Yeah, a post-legal entity. So the cooperative society serves as an entity of its own, on its own, and also the limited liability or company also serve as the what? As an entity on its own. It also serves as what? As a legal entity on its own. So it means the cooperative society as an entity is entirely different from what? From its owner or from their owners. So the business entirely is very different from their owners. So they buy shares. So in both cooperative societies and limited liability company, members usually buy shares. So to be a member of the cooperative society, shares are usually being bought, while also limited liability company, to be a shareholder, what happens? Such shares have to be bought in the process. Also, we have 3 is that both companies are usually what? Registered. The cooperative societies usually registered as limited liability company, while also limited liability company, that is either private or public, are also registered. So both are registered. Both are registered. And number 4, both hold annual general, we put it at capital letter, annual general meeting. Yeah. So both cooperative society and the limited liability company usually hold annual general meeting. So we have that is the AGM. Number 5 is that members of the cooperative society and the shareholders of limited liability company receive dividend. So both members receive dividend. So they receive dividend in the period, so which form part of the profits made by the organization. Now let's look at the differences. So we will be looking at the differences in the following area. We will be looking at the formation. We will be looking at the aims of forming each of these organizations, the aims in which they are being formed. We will be looking at the management and control. Who are those in control of such an organization? We will be looking at how profits is distributed. That is the profit distribution. So looking at the formation, the aim, management and control. We will be looking at profit distribution. So we'll also be looking at the right of members. So let's start with the cooperative society. How is the cooperative society formed, or under what law is the organization formed? So cooperative society is formed under the cooperative laws. So cooperative society is usually formed under the cooperative laws, while the limited liability company is formed under the Complete Act, usually formed under the Complete Act, while the cooperative society is formed under the cooperative laws. Now, what is the aim of the cooperative society and the aim of the limited liability company? They are going to have different aims and purpose. Now, the aim of the cooperative society is to satisfy the interests of its member, while the aim of the limited liability company is to make profit. That is the major aim, is to make profit for the shareholders. So we'll be looking at the management and control. So the cooperative society is usually managed by an elected committee. So it is managed by what? By an elected committee. So it's usually what? Managed by bodies of committee elected by the members of the societies, while the limited liability company is managed by a group of shareholders which are usually appointed by the board of directors. That is actually are managed by the board of directors. So we look at how is the profit distributed. So how profit is being distributed in the cooperative society is entirely different on how the profit is being distributed in the limited liability company. Profit is usually distributed in the cooperative society based on patronages of members. How do the members of the organization patronage the organization? So it's based on the patronage of the members of the organization. So the more a member of the organization patronage the organization, what will happen? The more will it be its dividends or profits within a period. So that also is based on how member of the organization patronizes the organization. Now also the limited liability companies, how is profit distributed? Profit is usually distributed in the limited liability company based on the number of shares held by its member or by the shareholders. So a shareholders with more shares, you have more dividend being given to it within a period if such shareholders is not a preference or not a preference. So let's look at the right of members. Generally, members of a cooperative society are usually having equal rights. So as said earlier, that members of these cooperative societies are usually having equal rights due to the fact that the society is democratic in nature. Is democratic in nature, while also in the limited liability companies, members are not having equal rights. So this means the right each member we have varies based on the number of shares each member held in the organization. A shareholder that have more shares in the organization, we have more say than a shareholder with a little number of shares within the limited liability company. So we look at the similarities. We talk about the similarities that both cooperative society and limited liability are legal entity, that member buy shares, both are registered, both hold annual general meetings. Also, we talk about both members received dividend within the period. So we look at some differences. That is based on the following. That we look at based on information, the aim, management and control. We look at based on the profit distribution. We look at based on the right of members in the organization. So now we'll be looking at the credit unions and thrift societies. We'll be looking at the credit unions and thrift societies. And also we'll be looking at the formation of the credit unions and thrift society. And also we'll be looking at the service provided to member. Now, of course, we'll be looking at the credit unions and thrift society. Generally, the credit unions is usually formed by the low income earners who usually come together by a group of individuals who are having low incomes. So with common purpose of satisfying the interest of its member or promoting the welfare of the members, and also to assist members who might be in need within the period. So that is the major definition we can easily attach to the credit union and thrift societies. So now let's talk about the formation of the credit unions and thrift societies. How is the credit unions and thrift society formed? How are they formed? Now, the credit union and thrift society are usually formed by the low income earners, and the organization is usually open to anybody who are interested in joining the organization. It's usually open to any members who are interested in joining the organization, who also have common interests as with other members of the organizations. So the organization might be formed the organization may not be incorporated, but maybe be registered. Maybe a registered company. Yeah, it may not be incorporated, but maybe a registered company within a period. And whenever the organization is formed, a variety of services is usually provided to its members, usually by giving them loans, assisting them, and also encouraging them in the aspect of savings. So we'll be looking at the service provided to members of the credit union and thrift society. So a lot of services are usually provided to the members by the credit union and thrift society. Number one is the encouragement of savings. Now, members of the credit unions and thrift society are usually encouraged to save. So they are usually encouraged to save by the organization, and also they assist members in need. So they assist the member in needs. Also, again, they give loans, they provide loans to its members. So any member in need of loan usually was giving loans at the low interest rates, at the very low interest rate. Also, the organization also educates its members or any form of informations, and also any form of knowledge in which this member has to be educated on. Is educate its member, and also it usually settles some aspect of disputes among its members within the period. Settle some amount of disputes within the members in the period. So in this lesson or in this class, we talk about the definition of the cooperative society. Also, we also look at some characteristics of the cooperative society. We also look at the types of cooperative society. Whenever we talk about the wholesale cooperative society, we talk about the retail cooperative society, we talk about the producers, we talk about the consumer, we talk about the multi-purpose. Also, we look at the advantages and disadvantages of the cooperative society. We also look at the similarities and differences between cooperative society and limited liability companies. We also look at the credit union and thrift societies. We also talk about the formation of credit unions and thrift society. We also look at the services provided to members by the credit union and thrift society. So it has been an interesting class with you people. And also, if you are having confusion as regards to this lesson, please do not hesitate to replay the video, and some questions or some exercises will be displayed on your screen. Please do not hesitate in answering such a question. Thank you.